Hi, and welcome to EV Chat. I'm Kieran Andrews, a software engineer and EV enthusiast. Today, we're going to be chatting about battery chemistry, the EV market in 2024, Tesla sales records, BYD overtaking Tesla in sales. Joining me today is my friend Victor, who's a graphic designer and another EV enthusiast. Hi, Victor.
Yeah. Hi, hey, Kieran. But you finally heard me. We're talking about the very, very exciting battery chemistry.
Yes, we're finally talking about battery chemistry. I know you've been wanting to talk about that for ages. So, yeah.
Just a little bit about Kieran. He's a engineer, and you work in the industry for a major battery charging company. Not battery charging, EV charging company, and you are very like software driven and very hardware, very what's in here right now. And I am very enthusiastic about the software, what's coming. Sorry, what's coming, that kind of stuff. So I know that you're not very into the battery chemistry, but I find it very, very interesting. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm interested in it, but I'm also like cautiously optimistic. I see it and go, okay, it's definitely going to come at some point in the future. But when is that going to be? Is it going to be soon? Is it going to be 5 years, 10 years? And I think now why I'm happy to talk to you about it with it today is that it is coming sooner than I thought. So,
which I said, by the way, in our very, very first TV chat or something like that, I was very excited about these sodium batteries. Is that what we're talking about? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, let's jump to this first article. Okay. So this is the one I got here for you today. Ex-Tesla executives planning to reduce the EV battery costs using a surprising lithium alternative. Could it work? So this is the article from thecooldown.com. Just to summarize the article, it is a South Wales company, DG Innovate, which is led by former Tesla executives, and I find that really interesting, developing a battery powered by bio waste and sodium. So it is a sodium battery, like you've been asking about.
Yes. So probably the most interesting about sodium in general is the downside, or the downside a lot of people see in EV cars is the materials, the raw materials. They are costly, they are not particularly green, then the recycling is hard, yada 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 yada. So that's what's particularly interesting about a sodium battery. It may be pie in the sky, it may be something that will happen down the road, but it's exciting nonetheless, at least for me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's interesting. What I might do is summarize some more of the article as well. So this particular one's interesting because they're sourcing some of the battery from trash as well. So it's another way, I guess, of recycling stuff that we tend to be throwing away. So the company aims to create a battery that offers adequate range and charge speed without relying on expensive and scarce materials like lithium. So that's why sodium. So sodium is a key component of these batteries. It's going to be about 1,000 times more abundant than lithium and can be harvested from oceans. So that is really great. The batteries, like I said, use bio-waste to create a hard carbon anode with sodium ions moving between the anode and cathode during the charge cycle, which replaces the lithium ions. A little bit technical there, but quite interesting. And they are going to be employing a patented low-energy process to transform the trash into those battery components. So it's going to be a sustainable and environmentally friendly alternative to lithium batteries, which a lot of people talk about. A lot of people talk about how dirty they are.
If it works.
Yeah, if it works. And I think as well, this is going to offer an opportunity for foreign markets as well to contribute. And it means there's going to be regional stability in the availability of batteries. I think a lot of people are talking about China and how much all the batteries are made in China. So there's definitely an interesting point there. Then DG Innovate plans to commence commercial sales in early 2025. So that's very close. What do you think? Do you reckon they're going to pull it off?
Nah. Well, I don't know. I am also I am very interested in the chemistry and all that kind of stuff, but that sounds incredibly too good to be true. So the first time we discussed this was, I reckon, about 8 or 9 months ago, and all of the chemists, all of the sciencey bits were just coming out, and this one, I don't know. It sounds very, very interesting. I hope they do. But I am a little bit skeptic, especially with that time frame. And in this industry, you won't let me lie, those time frames and the being very, very optimistic about things usually never ends quite well. I've never seen a promise as bold as this one in this industry ever come to fruition, ever.
Yeah.
Not once.
So I think definitely sodium batteries are going to be a thing. When, not sure. Is this company going to be the one that develops one that's going to be massive? Maybe, but there is some kind of, I don't know, weird stuff in here about it. But yeah, definitely, I think sodium batteries. The concern about sodium batteries is that, yeah, they are cheaper to make because you can get sodium anywhere. You can get it from the ocean rather than lithium. Lithium is quite abundant anyway. But yeah, the problem with sodium is it's heavy. And so the problem is going to be that it's going to make sense for cars with like lower range and sort of ones that go in city, but the higher range ones are going to be lithium. So you can already see it with Teslas right now. You've got the LFP battery.
Yes. Which I own
is
one.
the low end, or I guess low end, but the model, the base model. There we go. Base model Teslas, Model 3, Model Y, etc. They have the LFP batteries.
I would rather have LFP. I think it's a superior battery in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I prefer it. Like it works well. It works well in warmer temperatures, which is great for Australia.
You can charge it to 100%. You don't have to worry about battery degradation. It's just, I think it's just a superior battery.
You still do have to worry about battery degradation, but it's
not as much.
It's different. It's a different factor. Yeah, not as much. Yeah.
You can charge it to 100%. You can do all the things that anyway, that's a different thing. So yes, sodium is very, very exciting. These guys are making lots of claims. I hope they are truth, but I think they are really bold. And usually when I hear a bold claim like that, I go like, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I have another one, mate. Another article.
Go.
Do you want to? This one might be a little bit more interesting to you.
Okay, give me.
So this one is on Wired, and it is Panasonic's new powered batteries will supercharge EVs. Okay. Sila, which is a California-based company co-founded by a former Tesla employee. It's kind of funny. They're all former Tesla employees.
I wonder. So hold on. Let me interrupt you there. I wonder who are these Tesla's employees, because obviously Tesla has thousands of employees, and it could be anyone.
Yeah, they could just be a janitor, right?
Yeah, it could be, it could be a window cleaner. It can be, the head of human resources.
But it's more likely somebody that has actually worked in batteries, though. I'm just saying. So it could be. It could be.
To me.
But it's just funny that both these articles are ex-Teslas. But I guess that's where all of the people that are interested in EVs have gone, and maybe they're now branching out and going, oh, well, I've got a better idea. I've got an idea of something I want to do. And they're doing that. So they're looking to supply Panasonic with silicon powder made in the US for EV batteries. So this new technology could eliminate range anxiety, significantly reduce charge times, decrease reliance on China for battery materials. So I think that's a similar thing that has been talked about a little bit. The fact that they've partnered with Panasonic is a good sign for me. So Panasonic, which is a major supplier for Tesla and a producer of approximately 10% of global EV batteries, has partnered with Sila.
I thought it was bigger, that number. Only 10%. I thought it was like 70% of Tesla, which would have been like half of it.
I don't know. It's an interesting one. I have to double source check that. But that's what this article says. This article says 10%. They also partner with Mercedes as well. So for their G-Class electric SUV, which I've actually had a chance of seeing in person. It's quite a nice car. So this powder replaces the graphite in lithium ion. So it's not sodium batteries, but it's a different way of doing lithium ion.
So is this one more about how fast it charges than the fact that, because you're still using the same raw materials, it's just this one charges faster? Is this the main
well, it's silicon. So I guess that, like, going further down to the article as well, it talks about the fact that silicon can store 10 times more energy than graphite. So it's going to have a higher energy density, and that it reports there'll be 1,000 watt-hours per litre by 2030. So it's still a while off, but that's quite good. It's taken them 12 years and 80,000 times to develop it.
80,000 times what? Like 80,000?
Like iterations in terms of how many different versions and chemistries they've tried in order to get to this particular one that they've got to now. So, yeah.
There must be some well, it's Panasonic obviously, but there must be some serious investment behind that. Like they are chasing the dragon for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, interesting.
And so so Panasonic is aiming to increase that, but the Sila's technology or powder is what is going to help them. So it's going to be more compact, lighter than graphite, which is going to increase the battery energy density. It's also going to be built or manufactured in the US as well, which I think is going to help for their particular, a lot of their subsidies and things like that in the US have to be made in
that's a
the
big
US.
one. That's probably a program on its own, because the way that the new legislation has been coming out for EVs in the US, it's very, 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 very interesting. So we're gonna start seeing a lot of this, because silica, at the end of the day, they get it out of like sand and pieces of glass and deserts and stuff like that. And my understanding is that they do have a bunch of that also in America.
Yeah, so in the article it does talk about the fact that silicon is abundant. It's high purity. So it's the high purity quartz they use is mined in the US. So they can mine it in the US. They've got a factory in the US, and they're going to make the batteries in the US, which is great. Like, I wish Australia did that. Like, that's something that we could do. We mine lots of lithium. We mine all sorts of stuff. We mine copper, or like all of the stuff to build an electric car. We probably mine in Australia. Why not make batteries and stuff here? But
because I can tell you why, but that's a different.
That's a different time. Maybe that's the next EV chat, we can have an article on that.
Yes. Industrialization in Australia is low. Anyway,
so two different companies doing different types of battery technology, which is not too far away. What do you think about either of these two ones? Which one is more promising, and what do you think?
Well, for me, this one is not so much battery chemistry. It's just like higher capacity and faster charge rates. It's just like what we have. We're going to change the graphite for silicon.
That's the chemistry though.
Well, I know, but you're still having ion lithium, you know.
These are lithium batteries. These are not sodium.
Yeah, the other ones for me are way more interesting, because that would be the very first sodium batteries, and you know what can happen in 10 or 15 years, we don't know. So yes, I would get that. You know, the first 2 or 3 years using them, they may have, you know, the kinks, but once we've used them for a while, then I reckon this could get very, very exciting.
So you think sodium batteries is the thing that you're more excited about?
I am more. Yes, I am actually very excited about sodium batteries, to be completely honest. I am. I don't want to say I'm not optimistic, but I think there's something there that I haven't seen in a while. So here's the thing about lithium and cadmium and all the things that they've been using for batteries. That's not new chemistry. It's optimized chemistry. There's not been a massive advantage in battery chemistry. No, that's unfair. No, that's actually really unfair. There's been massive advantage, massive developments, but the chemistry on its own is still working kind of in the same way. So
and that's sort of what happens. It's very much like iterative. It slowly improves over time, that sort of thing. And like a new technology is hard to be introduced, and it has to be proven, and it has to be tested, it has to make sure it doesn't get set on fire, all that kind of stuff. And so it takes a long time. It could be like, exciting new battery thing, but
if you think about ion, lithium, cadmium, copper, and all of the stuff that we've been using in batteries, it's been, I get it, there's been developments, but it seems, you know, there was a major shift in batteries around in the mid 90s. You know, when all of the the cordless drills are starting to come out and stuff like that, and you can recharge them, and then the phones came around, and then you started seeing, but the chemistry was very similar. Yes, they changed. Some of them had lead at the beginning, and then they took that out, and then they got out, but that was still kind of the same. They were just changing one material for another. So a brand new chemistry that could work in a very different way, in theory, that I find very, very exciting. Well, at least that's my understanding. As a graphic designer and as an enthusiast, I may be completely wrong, and people would say, no, Victor, you're completely wrong. we have changed so much more, which may be true. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. Yeah, or maybe we can keep following this development and see how it goes and have a look at what like where it's like, is it getting closer? Is it not? And yeah, how close to reality? I think the most recent development that I'm excited about is the fact that I've heard this year that LFP battery prices dropped 20% compared to what they were a while ago, and that's the main reason why Teslas, the new Highland, a lot of electric vehicles, especially the BYD and the MG4 in Australia, can be so much cheaper than what they were before. And this 20% drop in battery prices makes a huge difference because the battery is a huge portion of the cost of the manufacturing of the car. So, yeah, like for me, that's like something that's real. It's happened.
Yes. No,
and it's going to continue to happen. And
that brings something very, very interesting, which I don't think this is the right one, because we got to move into the next article. But I'll just point it out. It's not only the fact that there's new cars that are going to be using that. It's the fact that you will be able to replace your battery, and it's not going to cost you half the price of the car, which was one of the massive drawbacks of having a Tesla. Like, say, well, yeah, but when it breaks, you're going to have to pay $25,000 for a battery replacement. And I've heard numbers and I've seen articles where they are bringing it down to $6,000 or $7,000 for a battery replacement in the next 5 years, which would be incredibly exciting, because right now, if your battery dies, pretty much your car is dead.
Yeah.
And that would be also very, very exciting.
Definitely.
All right.
So the next article I wanted to talk about was a look at the EV market in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I've been talking about this a year. I've been talking it up, but yeah, 2023 was the best year for EV sales yet. It's only going to keep going. Right now, we're in a growth phase, massive growth phase. Line go up. Lots more EVs are being bought. But what's interesting is that 2024 is expected to be, according to this article, unpredictable. So EV sales hit record highs in 2023, but the latter half of the year saw uneven sales and piled up inventories. So sales in the US, sorry?
Sorry, no, sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to, but do you think that also the market, because everywhere people are not buying new cars in general. The market has been very hurt all over the world. In Australia, we know that, the interest rates and the mortgages, and we're suffering a little bit of a crisis right now. So people are not buying new cars in general. Could that be it, you reckon?
Definitely. And I think that's it. Like US sales are expected to continue rising, but not at the same rates that they have been in before for EVs. So I guess like overall, car sales are dropping, but which means EV sales are dropping. Mm-hmm. Are people going to think more about EVs, and is the percentage split between EVs and other petrol cars going to change? I guess that's something that we would definitely have to watch out for this year. Mm-hmm. In the US, the switch to the North American Charging Standard, or NACS, in 2025 may lead to a wait-and-see period amongst buyers. So that means that people are going to wait for a car with NACS before they buy a car in the US. There's also some consolidation as well in the public charging networks in the US is probably going to happen next year, 2024. In terms of like the best EV companies, Hyundai, Kia, Genesis are looking as strong competitors in the EV market. I've been saying that for ages. How Hyundai, Kia and Genesis, which is a brand related, that's the premium brand of Kia, have a really strong strategy. They're going to do well. Volkswagen in China is probably going to expect some fierce competition from some Chinese EVs like the BYD. So that may impact the future of the Volkswagen's market. And Tesla is still dominating and will probably continue in 2024 to dominate, to be the leader of the EV market, especially in the US. But it does face some challenges, and we've seen this recently in the news with their autopilot system, their aging product line, and Elon Musk distracting us from the cars.
Yes, and with his Twitters and his things.
His exes, yeah. And finally, the last part of this article talks about the fact that the US election in 2024 could impact the EV market as well, with potential policy changes affecting the pace of EV adoption and development. So what do you think about all of that?
Well, it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
The way that I see it, and I guess that's just a little bit of editorial. 2023 for me was the year, at least here in Australia, when I really started seeing EVs everywhere. I got my first Tesla. I have 2 Teslas. I got my first Tesla in February, I believe. When did you get yours? You got it in June, July?
November.
November 2022?
23. Because that's when the model...
no,
24. 22. November 22, because I had it for a bit over a year.
Oh, well, then I got it. And then I got it in March 2022. There you go. Mm-hmm. So I've had mine for almost 2 years. There you go. I didn't realize that. Anyway, so...
I got the years mixed up with it being the new year.
Yeah, but 2023 was the year that, all through 2022, I would ride and I would drive, and people with a Tesla would say hello to you. Like, oh, hey, there's another Tesla. The BYD was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, there's the Tesla wave, and if somebody was into Tesla, sort of this like Tesla club thing. Whereas now, nobody. It's just like, okay, it's another car. It's more like a Corolla or like there's lots of Teslas on the road now. It's not special anymore as it was
which is a good thing, by the way.
2 years ago.
Oh, when I got it, people would stop me. They say, "Oh my God, can I have it?" And they wanted to talk about it and things like that. Even angry people at some point. Friends would say, "Oh, where would you get your plastic car?" All kinds of stuff. Good and bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's just another car, and it's just a reality these days. So what I was going to say, for me, 2023 was like 2007 for the iPhone.
Yeah,
it was literally the year that everybody started getting a smartphone in 2007, 2008, and even the people that said that I would never get a smartphone in 2010 had one in the pocket. And I reckon that's exactly what is going to start happening now. At least,
but then there's going to be a slowdown, right? There'll be a slowdown because of the economic situation of people having to tighten their wallets or tighten their belts and not spend everything in their wallets because of the increased cost of living and interest rates and that sort of thing too.
No, exchange rates as well, because the American dollar is really, really high, which is affecting also the imports and tariffs and a bunch of things. But you are right. We're in Australia, Kieran and I, and right now in the last maybe 8 months, interest rates have gone 3 times, a 300% increase in interest rates. So people are struggling. That is just, a fact. So not a lot of people are buying new cars, not electric. Yeah. And the cheapest new car that you can buy is the MG4, which is like $58,000 or something like that here in Australia. Just
48,000. I think it's even cheaper. MG4 is actually a bit cheap.
No.
I have to look it up.
Okay, that's all right.
Like not drive away, it's 38,990.
Okay. Well, it should be in the mid-40s then for sure. Jesus, I'm sweating.
Oh, no, yeah. It's just under 40K. Just under 40K drive away. Is
wow.
it? No. Sorry, before on-road costs. I have to do the math, but it's just under 40K before on-road costs.
So it should be mid to mid-40s to high 40s, high 40s, depending on where you're at.
Under 50. So you can get electric cars under 50K in Australia now, and that's why I'm seeing a lot more MGs on the road. My mother-in-law has one and likes it. But
I don't think I've seen one yet. I know that your mother-in-law has one, but I haven't seen one yet.
There's a lot of BYDs. I guess out of all the cars,
BYDs are everywhere.
Teslas, BYDs, they're everywhere. And then I'm seeing a few MG4s now, but sales are only just picking up. Yeah. And it hasn't had the time that BYD has had for it to kind of be noticed a lot more.
Are the numbers there? Like, if I go into an MG4, could I walk out with a new car, or do I need to wait 7 or 8 months?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you can. So you will start seeing them a bit more. I think there are a little bit of delays. I have heard reports that the after-sales service is not super great. So if MG screw that up, there may be some people that will not like that brand. But overall, the car has glowing reports, is really quite value for money and exciting. So yeah, I think that's going to be my prediction is that MG4 sales are going to be going great. There's also some new BYD cars. There's the BYD Seal as well. Have you seen that car?
I have seen the BYD Seal.
It looks.
I've seen a lot of BYDs, and they are very, very interesting to me. Like, look. It's not only that. There's a bunch of car manufacturers, most of them, but Toyota, your favorite, that they have announced that by 2025 to 2030, depending on the manufacturer, would actually stop producing internal combustion cars. Period. So we are looking at a future in 10 years tops, where most of the internal combustion cars would probably be phased out. And that is not, that's not hyperbole. That is probably something that is likely to happen. And that is probably one of the most interesting things to what we're seeing right now, that they are and the future, because that will shift power. That would be very interesting to see how the world is going to shape once people are actually able to be self-sufficient without having to pay for petrol. That would be interesting. Anyway,
because that's a huge part of the cost of living, like, right? Is that gonna affect inflation numbers too if people are using electricity?
Taxes on road tax. It's gonna be. There's gonna have to be lots of new legislation that they're already trying to put on. But
we're
anyway,
definitely going to cover all of those as they come up in the future. And there's been definitely something to think about. But yeah, they've got the South Australian incentives are gone now this year. So
yes, they are.
More local news.
And we're hitting a slump, obviously, of sales. In Australia, I can understand it. Just going back to what you were saying about the MG4, is those prices are in Australian dollars. In American dollars, is around 65 to 70 cents per dollar. So it's obviously considerably cheaper. I am guessing this is a car that would be maybe under $30,000 in America. I am guessing. I don't know the price, but the conversion rate would say that. And that would be even more exciting for people in America. Way more exciting. So I think it's a slump because there's a lot of stuff also that is coming. Thailand, a lot of things. You were saying it yourself. I think the charging standards for America are a massive mess. And the fact that someone is going to come and standardize them, that chances are it may be Tesla actually.
Well, that's what's happening. So right now, most of the manufacturers in America have decided to adopt the Tesla standard, and so they're all going to use the KNX Plug, which is the North American something standard, connector standard, and so all cars in America are going to have the Tesla plug, and
which is going to be super interesting for the rest of the world, because the rest of the world is still using CCS2. So. Do you think eventually we're going to end up using that one?
Well, there's some conjecture there, and I think that's probably a topic for another chat. I can get a little bit of an article, bit more detail on exactly how it's going to happen. But as more manufacturers in America get the next standard, and more countries maybe start adopting it as well, and going, oh, well, we just want to import American cars and etc., then I think it's going to put pressure on other countries, and eventually it could become a world standard. It is a lot smaller.
Yeah, that's true. Going back to the article, do you think that more people considering to buy a car and getting more informed is actually slowing down sales? Because if you are getting more informed and you're saying, well, next year is going to change. Next year, all of this is happening and more people are getting informed. Do you reckon more people would be waiting instead of jumping because they are early adopters that would consume anything that would come out? Like little by little, people getting informed and saying, well, if I wait 6 months, I may get this. If I wait a year, I may get that. Once I jump into this, then I won't need that, and these things will come out. That may be, causing a slump as well.
I think some people won't be holding off. I think there are, like, even Toyota's doing it. They're using delaying tactics and saying, oh, we've got this amazing technology, but it's a couple years off, and getting people to go, oh, well, I'll hold on to my existing car for a little bit longer, wait for this new thing, delaying. Whereas,
which I don't think it will pay off, by the way.
I don't think it's going to pay off that strategy. But there probably are a few people out there waiting for it to become super mainstream. Like if you look at when you get to the point where I don't think it's early adopters anymore. It's definitely
that's
the next phase, and so that's why we're seeing so many more numbers. And at that point of the sort of the sales curve, it happens very quickly. But the only reason why it's not going to happen quickly this year is the economy. But as soon as the economy picks up again, I think it's going to pick up even quicker. And so it's going to be weird to see when that happens. And is that going to be this year? Is it going to take a whole year? Are we going to have, is the economy going to be in a slump this whole year? And that's going to be a huge factor, I think, about how EV sales are going to go.
All right.
Yeah.
Next.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tesla has set a record for their deliveries for this year. It's not a huge news article, but they have set for Q4 2023, they have surpassed their annual sales target. They have delivered 484,000 cars in Q4. So 3 and Y was 460,000, whereas SNX and Cybertrucks was 23,000 about. So they reduced. Yeah, some of those have Highland as well. So they've produced 494,000 vehicles. So again, that's higher than what they sold. So they do have some inventory that they're building up at the moment. And for the total of 2023, they delivered 1.8 million cars and also produced 1.8 million cars in 2023, with, of course, the Model 3 and Y dominating the figures. So year over year, 38% increase in deliveries and a 35% increase in production. And the Q4 performance was significantly improvement over Q3 23, which saw 435,000 deliveries. So the financial results for Q4 23 are awaited to confirm their profitability, but that report will be due on January 24th. That'll be very interesting when that comes out.
Very interesting, especially because, wow, those numbers are pretty big. I would love to compare them to other car manufacturers, because at the end of the day, we're talking about 3 main models. Well, 4 with the Model S. You know, the Model X is barely being sold these days.
Yeah, S and X don't count. If you look at the figures, like 18,000 S and X and Cybertruck, 476 Model 3Y.
The problem that I have with the S is that people want it. They are just not making it. So that is the main issue. There's like this massive amount of people that want to buy a Model S, but there's, you know, how long is the at some point we covered this, that the wait list for the Model S was like,
they're not selling them in Australia anymore,
and other places around the world, the wait list was like a year and a half or something like that, something ridiculous. Like, I don't know if they're phasing it out. I don't know. I still do believe that there's a market for it. I don't think that the Model 3 and the Cybertruck are enough. I do believe that we need like a proper luxury sedan and a proper luxury SUV. But again, so we don't know the strategy.
You're actually thinking they should do a complete redesign of their S and X to attract new customers?
I think they should just release it. I think people want the Model S. I think, look,
well, they have a new refreshed Model S and X.
Where is it?
Yeah, you can get it in the US, just not in Australia.
And you have to wait like a year and a half. Or the Roadster. Don't get me started on the Roadster.
Yeah, well, there's the Roadster, and then there's also the rumored Model 2, etc. So I think they're focused on more trying to increase volume rather than their higher end and their luxury end, which is part of the strategy in their playbook the whole time. I think they'll be focusing on how can they mass produce that Model 2.
I reckon that's probably the next step for them. That would make sense. If they want to sell more, they cannot keep selling, here in Australia at least, $60,000 to $70,000 cars. They need to bring that down to closer to the MG4 for sure.
Well, it'd be cheaper than that for sure. They have the ability to build something cheaper than that.
It would need to be a small battery though. That's the only problem that will arise. I reckon it'd be like in the 200-kilometer range.
But I guess if you compare the Teslas to other cars, they're just so much more efficient. So they need smaller batteries anyway for the same amount of range. And so they can get away with, having a smaller battery, but it's still going as far as you need. And if it's just a city car, then I think, they could probably do.
Yeah. Well, there's the Leaf. And the Leaf was selling fine. And it had like 140-kilometer range or something ridiculous like that. I can't
imagine a 140-kilometer Tesla and like how cheap that would be then.
Yeah, especially because the build quality, and I know that people mock it, like, oh no, the panels and the this and the that and the quality, but in general, the interiors have lots of features. You know, the leather seats, the glass on top, all of that kind of stuff. If you were to start removing some of those things, and make a proper cheap car, a proper entrance. You know, a proper Toyota Corolla. I reckon you can hit in Australian dollars and on the $40,000 car easily.
Definitely.
All right.
Well, I think that's what's happening in Australia. Like going to our last article, BYD have hit a massive sales record in December. So this is in like globally and more in the Chinese market. But I think in Australia they are pegged to overtake Model 3 at some point and become the leading like EV in Australia. The BYD, like the Atto 3 is the one at the moment. So, like, just to go over this article, BYD has set a global record for plug-in electric vehicle sales in December 23. So they reached their annual target of 3 million units. So, yeah, that's higher than Tesla. They sold 340,000 plug-in cars, which includes 18,000 EVs. So their actual EV numbers are not as high as Tesla, but they do have a lot of EV sales. And their December sales were 38,000, which is higher than November, marking the 8th consecutive monthly record. So their numbers are continuing just to go up.
So some of those ones are internal combustion and hybrids then.
Yeah, so in terms of the whole units, the 3 million units that they sold, I'm pretty sure are others. But yeah, in the month of December, they sold 18,000 EVs and 340,000 plug-in cars. So that means hybrids, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so that must be hybrids. Battery electric vehicles have risen 70% year over year. So their sales breakdown is 190,000 battery vehicles, and their plug-in hybrid vehicles have increased by 22%. So everyone, like, we're seeing that everyone's just buying battery vehicles now. They're not buying hybrids anymore. It made sense 5-10 years ago, but not anymore. And you can sort of see that in BYD sales figures.
I think there's going to be a market. This is my prediction, where the hybrid is going to be the other way around. It's going to have a very small gas tank, just for those last smidge, you know, that scab of people that still, oh, no, I need to have, like, you know, just a really, 10-liter tank or 15-liter tank just to charge the battery, or in case you get to whatever. I reckon at some point that would be a feature in cars.
Definitely.
Just like, remember when the DVD was phasing out, there were all of these DVDs that had a VHS next to it. And at the beginning, they didn't exist. It was until the VHS was getting phased out that we start getting those really weird ones. And I think that's probably what we're going to end up seeing, just, as the regular hybrid and the plug-in hybrids start to.
Yeah, I always remember those. You got like a DVD player with a tape player next to it, and you had a combo thing, and people were like, "Oh yeah, I need this because then I can do both." And yeah, but
that was at the tail end of the VHS. Like by the time you bought it, the tapes and the VHSs were already almost phased out. So that happened just because people already had it and they felt like they already needed it, and that's why they got it. And I reckon that's going to happen at some point. The hybrids are going to be the other way around. Instead of having a very small battery that you can charge, to go around 30 or 40 Ks, it's going to be the other way around. You're going to have a very small petrol engine that you would be able to charge, to go, again, 30 or 40 Ks. I wouldn't be surprised, especially for camping vehicles and stuff like that, just as a...
yeah, definitely. I just wanted to finish summarizing the article as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the main part of this, of the year-to-date sales of battery electric vehicles from BYD is 1.5 million, which is up 73%. So they're massive growth in terms of their sales. That means that BYD is now China's largest car maker. So BYD is now the largest Chinese car maker and the largest car brand in China, and possibly the world's largest all-electric car manufacturer in Q4. So they may not have beaten Tesla, but they are, especially with their growth numbers are much higher. So next year, it's likely that BYD will overtake Tesla in China and possibly other parts of the world. I'm predicting possibly Australia too.
Unless they tax them, which they might, heavily.
They could. And so I think that's huge. That's massive.
That is absolutely. I didn't know I knew they were getting Well, I started seeing them around the road, but I didn't think they were that big. Like the Atos, how much is it, a regular Atos these days?
Before on-road costs, the base level Atto is 48,000.
Atos, 48,000. Yeah, well,
And
those
then
extra
the long
$10,000,
range is 52.
which is still, it's 15 to 10 to 15 to $20,000 cheaper than a Tesla, of course. Of course. And they are good-looking cars as well. They look techy.
Good-looking cars. The only complaint that I've heard about is the software, but at the same time, some of the recent software updates that Tesla have been releasing, I haven't been a huge fan of, and so yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I don't get me started on that one. I'm still. My Spotify still won't work. So yes.
Oh, my Spotify works now, but other things that were working, like my automatic rain windscreen wipers, now has started not working very well. So you win some, you lose some each update.
Yeah, I know. I keep having this conversation with people that would say, "Oh, you have to Teslas. You must love Teslas." Like, yeah, I love electric cars.
Yep.
I like some of the Tesla's things.
Yep.
But I don't know if my next car is going to be a Tesla.
Yeah, I totally
will
agree.
put it that way.
I'm on the same side as you.
Yeah. So it, like anything, it's for me, Tesla is like the Apple of electric cars. They have good things, they have bad things, but the fact that I cannot just go and change my own wheel, it's a bit of a, I would just like that kind of freedom of owning my car and being able to do stuff with it.
Yeah.
Was that the last one? Sorry, we just went on a different rant.
Well, yeah, that's the last article. I guess I just kind of wanted to wrap up, and I'm heading to fully charged next month as well. So expect to maybe see some news from that, which should be really exciting. And also, we're planning to do weekly podcasts as well. Hopefully, you like this format. Please comment below, subscribe, let us know what you think of this format and how we're going. And I'd like to hear what you thought about the different articles, and Tesla or BYD or the new battery technology. Do you want Victor to talk even more about sodium batteries?
Battery chemistry.
Yeah,
it's very hot, by the way. We're sweating because it's really hot in Australia, in case they're saying that from somewhere else. It is bloody. I'll just put this. It's 11 o'clock at night. It's 10:51, and we are 29 degrees outside. Inside where I am, it's like 32. But anyway, yes. Sorry about the sweating.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, Kieran, thank you very much. That was a lot of fun. I did miss this. It is fun. It's fun to rant and to banter and to talk about EV stuff and and go nowhere. Just have a chat.
Yeah. Thanks for having an EV chat.
An EV chat indeed. Bye.